Well, we seem to be live this evening. Yes, we're definitely live this evening for the 10th and the last of the lockdown quiz nights at the Crooked Spire YouTube channel. And while people are joining, somebody's just joined, I will give the links on social media just to make sure that it's easy for people to join. And then we will make a start. We've got another nearly 10 minutes to go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting the links out. Notice we have 48 subscribers. How very exciting. I'll shut up now, otherwise I'll get a feedback loop when I check on this link. This link. This link. This link. I've still got the feedback loop. Stop. Still got the feedback loop. How annoying. But we're still there. Okay. So link for tonight's quiz night. And paste the link. And there, has it got my ugly features on? Yes, it's got my ugly features on. So I know it's the correct one. That's excellent, we got that. That I hope is helpful to people. And I'll post it on my own Facebook. And YouTube is even telling me that I am live. How exciting. Okay, that's Facebook sorted out. And now we'll move over to Twitter. Gwen and Tony still trying to get connected. Well, it's only just gone live, Gwen and Tony, so I think they're waiting for, they'll expect me to send them a link, which I will happily do while I'm waiting. There you are. Link, not kink, link. Okay, that's gone out on Crooked Spire Twitter. Go and find my own Twitter and put it out on there while people are joining in. And excellent, we got it out on social media in case anybody wants to join from there. And I will now come back to you. Oh, we have some people in the live chat. Just a reminder to anybody joining that the live chat is available on YouTube if you wish to get the if you wish to interact, if you wish to ask questions, you want me to repeat anything, the live chat's available there. If you'd rather not use the live chat, then you can email contact@crookedspire.org and I will see it there. don't try any other means of communication because I won't see it. So it's no use me trying to answer your questions after the quiz is finished. So by say a very warm welcome and good evening to Colin and Suzanne, to Linda and Malcolm, to Jan Alcock, to Adam and Daniel, to the Balls, to the Peppits, to Kathy Bolton, Audrey Fretwell, to the Pinder Packards. Hey, there's a question about Sheffield Wednesday this evening. I thought I'd give you a treat on the last quiz night. I don't know whether you'll get the answer though. We shall see. So we're up to 15 people here and we've got a few minutes to go. I always like to start reasonably early to give people a chance to join in, sort out it. We got E-Hop from Scarborough. We give people a chance to join in and sort out any technical issues. There's nothing worse than trying to get on a Zoom conversation and timing yourself carefully so you've got 5 minutes in hand and then sitting there waiting for them to let you in at the last minute. Got Jess and Ben in Lincoln, good to see you. Hope Lincoln is happy over there. Have you been to visit the cathedral since it's been open? We've got Ted and Judy Stevens here, all here for week 10. I will say this is the last, sadly or otherwise, this is the last lockdown quiz night. And unless the lockdown is repeated, this will be the last time. And the next time you get a quiz night from me, I hope it will be live somewhere. That could be fun. I hope you've all had your pie and peas. Is that what Malcolm cooked, Linda? We've got Kathy Bolton again saying, I'll be missed. Oh, sorry about that. You can come in person though, next time we have one in the parish centre. We've got the Barons here, 18. The Halms are now signed in. Excellent. We've got a couple of minutes to go. I've actually been running out of things to ask questions about, so I need to refresh. Hello, Helen, welcome. Look forward to seeing you on Friday when the church is open. You're one of the volunteers. That's exciting. It's been nice the last 3 days now. We've had a little trickle of people coming into the church, observing all the necessary precautions. And as Josh said yesterday, isn't it lovely to see these people coming in and going out with a big smile on their faces? So it has been special. We've got Joe and Kathy in Brimington and Chloe in Northumberland. You'll get 10 out of 10 for the brain round in that case if Chloe's taking part. Although I've put a couple of off-piste questions in the brain thing, it's not just physiological. When I started doing a little bit of work on what a brain is and looking for questions to ask, it started scrambling my brain. What a complicated thing it is. I'm glad I just have to use one rather than study it. We're on 18. We've got 18 people here. We do have a little bit of thunder here. It looks as if there's been more thunder over Brimington way. I don't know whether Kathy and Joe can confirm that. Last night there was thunder over there, which didn't arrive here, but it was enough to send the dog behind the chair. But I suspect the dog is no longer behind the chair. He will have taken advantage of the fact that I know he is behind the chair. That's all right. As long as he doesn't take advantage. Thunder in Matlock, right. Oh yes, a little bit in Brimington. As if he can't get behind the chair, he tends to go up and lie underneath my bed and do things which frightened dogs do, which makes it a very smelly business going to bed. So I prefer him to go behind the chair. At least he can fart behind the chair, and I've got spray here, and I don't have to sleep over it. Okay, we're just gone 7:30. I'll give it just another minute for people. Yes, we've got somebody else who's joined in. We're on 21 now. We'll give just a little while longer, and then we'll make a start. It is strange. I've had 4 dogs, 2 male, 2 female, and both of the male dogs have been afraid of thunder, and the females haven't been bothered in the slightest. Interesting, whether it's something to do with their hearing or... Right. Neither was I. Neither was I what? I'm trying to work out that. Because I'm wittering, I won't be able to remember what I said. So if you're responding to something, I've probably forgotten it already. Okay, we'll start then. We'll make a start with round 1, which is one of my favourite topics, Italy. And again, as in buses last week or the week before, I have tried to make sure that these are things which you should know either from general knowledge or from observation. Question 1. Who was the Prime Minister of Italy from 1922 to 1943? Who was the Prime Minister of Italy from 1922 to 1943? Linda tells me that Digby is deaf. It was a blessing for Joe because he got deaf for a couple of years before he died, and he was no longer afraid of the thunder because he couldn't hear it. Although he could hear a packet of dog biscuits being opened at a very, very long distance. Who was the Prime Minister of Italy from 1922 to 1943? Question 2. What fashionable island in the Bay of Naples is home to the grave of Gracie Fields? What fashionable island in the Bay of Naples is home to the grave of Gracie Fields? We have a family, the Fields, who have 4 children associated with the choir. Thank God none of them is called Gracie. What fashionable island in the Bay of Naples is home to the grave of Gracie Fields? Question 3. What is the principal volcano on Sicily? What is the principal volcano on Sicily? And active it is. What is the principal volcano on Sicily? Question 4. Which mountain range, known well to skiers, which mountain range is located in the northeast of Italy bordering on Austria? Which mountain range is located in the northeast of Italy bordering on Austria? As I say, well known to skiers and also to aficionados of wood carving. Which mountain range is located in the northeast of Italy bordering on Austria? Question 5. Where is the financial capital of Italy? Where is the financial capital of Italy? Interesting that Italy has separate de facto capitals for government and for finance and indeed for industry. Post-war, the way that West Germany was set up, they were deliberate separate capitals for those things. Where is the financial capital of Italy? Question 6. What is the name of Italy's principal car and engineering manufacturer? What is the name of Italy's principal car and engineering manufacturer? And interestingly, this company doesn't only build cars, it also makes aeroplanes, or it used to make aeroplanes. It definitely still makes lorries. It makes trains, it makes lifts, makes all sorts of things, tractors. What is the name of Italy's principal car and engineering manufacturer? Question 7. In which year did the Italian football team last win the World Cup? In which year did the Italian football team last win the World Cup? Won the World Cup, I think, 5 or 6 times. In which year did the Italian football team last win the World Cup? Question 8. What is the longest river in Italy? What is the longest river in Italy? It's actually the only proper length river that Italy has got. Lots of the other rivers come straight out of the mountains to the sea, but this one has quite a long, quite a great length, and also a very significant floodplain. May give you a clue to know that in the floodplain is the main rice producing area in Italy. What is the longest river in Italy? Question 9. What is the name of the principal port associated with the city of Rome? What is the name of the principal port associated with the city of Rome? I put that in case you have been on a Mediterranean cruise or know somebody who has been on a Mediterranean cruise. This is where you will land up if you have a day out in Rome as part of your cruise. What is the name of the principal port associated with the city of Rome? And question 10, what is the second largest Italian island? What is the second largest Italian island? The largest is Sicily. What is the second largest? Welcome to the Peterborough Halloms. Pin your ears back while I go back over round 1. Who was the Prime Minister of Italy from 1922 to 1943? What fashionable island in the Bay of Naples is home to the grave of Gracie Fields? What is the principal volcano on Sicily? Which mountain range is located in the northeast of Italy, bordering on Austria? Where is the financial capital of Italy? What is the name of Italy's principal car and engineering manufacturer? In which year did the Italian football team last win the World Cup? What is the longest river in Italy? What is the name of the principal port associated with the city of Rome? And what is the second largest Italian island? So we'll move on from Italy, see Naples and die, and round 2 is life and death. Question 1. In which year was the last hanging carried out in the UK? In which year was the last hanging carried out in the UK? Not all that long before I went to secondary school, and there were a number of masters in school who were very happy to tell us that they regretted the ending of hanging. In which year was the last hanging carried out in the UK? Question 2. We've got Pauline and David from York. They've arrived. Good to see you. Question 2. In which year was capital punishment abolished in the UK? In which year was capital punishment abolished in the UK? So just to explain the difference between that, the last time it was done is the first question, and when it was completely written out of UK law is the second question. In which year was capital punishment abolished in the UK? Question 3. Which British family provided 3 executioners between 1902 and 1956? Which British family, I'll give you a clue, it's a French sounding name, provided 3 executioners between 1902 and 1956? 6. A dynasty, if you like, of executioners. Question 4. Which part of the body must be dead before organ transplants can take place? Which part of the body must be dead before organ transplants can take place? Very interesting and tragic type of ministry, which I've occasionally had to do, is to talk to people who have family members who are lined up for organ transplant and to talk to them about the significance of it. Which part of the body must be dead before organ transplants can take place? Question 5, and this is life and death. What is the difference between an embryo and a fetus? What is the difference between an embryo and a fetus? There's one for Chloe to get the answer for. What is the difference between an embryo and a fetus? A clinical question, medical question, physiological question. What is the difference between an embryo and a fetus? Question 6. What is usually the main ingredient in embalming fluid? What is usually the main ingredient in embalming fluid? If you talk to an undertaker who has had an open day, they will very often tell you that the people who come to the open days are fascinated by embalming. And the question here is, what is usually the main ingredient in embalming fluid? Embalming is not a very pleasant process, but we won't go into that now. Question 7. What is a cremulator? C-R-E-M-U-L-A-T-O-R. What is a cremulator? What is a cremulator? Question 8. Must you be buried in a coffin? Must you be buried in a coffin? Simple question, yes or no. Must you be buried in a coffin? Question 9. In what year was the first hospice for the dying in England founded? In what year was the first hospice for the dying in England founded? I'll give you a clue in case you're going in the wrong direction. If you know anything about the hospice movement and Dame Cicely Saunders, the hospice movement started in the 1960s, and the first hospice for the dying in England was founded a long time before that. In what year was the first hospice for the dying in England founded? Question 10. What age group of mothers had the lowest infant mortality rate in 2018? What age group of mothers had the lowest infant mortality rate in 2018? Infant mortality is not unknown in the UK, but if you compare it with some countries, the people I used to support in Mozambique, they have a fantastic doctor who worked on the lakeside with the quasi-Bronze Age communities there, and in 5 years of hard work, they managed, together with the communities, to halve the infant mortality rate there, or perinatal mortality, all the different types of mortalities that take place around birth. We've got the Gascoignes have joined us. It's good to see you. Okay, we'll go back over life and death. In which year was the last hanging carried out in the UK? Rowena has joined us. In which year was capital punishment abolished in the UK? Which British family provided 3 executioners between 1902 and 1956? Which part of the body must be dead before organ transplants can take place? What is the difference between an embryo and a fetus? What is usually the main ingredient in embalming fluid? What is a cremulator? Must you be buried in a coffin? In what year was the first hospice for the dying in England founded? And what age group of mothers had the lowest infant mortality rate in 2018? Okay, well, if that was a bit heavy for you, this one won't be, because it's nibbles and snacks. And question 1 is an easy one. What are Twiglets flavoured with? What are Twiglets flavoured with? There used to be a period when if you went somewhere for drinks and nibbles, it was always Twiglets and nothing else. What are Twiglets flavoured with? Question 2. What are pigs in blankets? What are pigs in blankets? Very common around Christmas. You get lots of pre-prepared ones. Individually expressed pigs in blankets. What are they? Question 3. How many tons of potatoes do Walkers use each day? A reminder that Walkers make crisps, if you've forgotten. How many tons of potatoes do Walkers use each day? Imagine all these potatoes going into their factory in Leicester. How many tons of potatoes do Walkers use each day? Question 4. What was the only make of crisps ever to have an OXO flavour? What was the only make of crisps ever to have an OXO flavour? I always had a treat when I was very little. We'd go out to Newport, and on the bus on the way back, I would be bought a packet of these OXO crisps as a treat if I'd behaved myself, which wasn't always the case. What was the only make of crisps to have an OXO flavour? Question 5. What is the most commonly used flavour enhancer in a variety of snacks? What is the most commonly used flavour enhancer in a variety of snacks? What is the most commonly used flavour enhancer in a variety of snacks? These days, quite a lot of snacks have tried to keep away from flavour enhancers, but this is still the most commonly used one. Question 6. Who made a bar called Milky Lunch? Who made a bar called Milky Lunch? Quite similar to a Milky Way bar, but it wasn't a Milky Way bar. Who made a bar called Milky Lunch? Question 7. In which year was Magnum first sold? In which year was Magnum first sold? And in case you think I'm looking at the past too much, here's a very up-to-date one. What snacks are these days commonly provided free in primary schools? What snacks are commonly provided free in primary schools? People of my age will remember the tuck shops, which sold potato puffs, which were cheaper than packets of crisps, and various other unhealthy things. What snacks, well, there's a clue for you. What snacks are commonly provided free in primary schools? Question 9. What does KP stand for? What does KP stand for? You'll see it most commonly on packets of nuts, but also packets of lots of other things as well. What does KP stand for? And question 10, what are cheese strings made from? What are cheese strings made from? An interesting question. What are no, it is a single word, get it right. What are cheese strings made from? Okay, we'll go back over that. What are twiglets flavoured with? What are pigs in blankets? How many tons of potatoes do walkers use each day? What was the only make of crisps to have an OXO flavour? What is the most commonly used flavour enhancer in a variety of snacks? Who made a bar called Milky Lunch? In which year was Magnum first sold? What snacks are commonly provided free in primary schools? What does KP stand for? And what are cheese strings made from? Well, that was round 3, and we'll go on to something very exciting for round 4, world domination. Question 1. This question had to be asked. What is the classic world domination board game? What is the classic world domination board game? Lots of people I was in school with used to play this. My brother and his friends used to play this. Whenever I got involved with it, it was too complicated for me. My brain doesn't work this way, so I just couldn't cope with it. But the question is, what is the classic world domination board game? Has been for decades. Question 2. In the Star Trek canon, which genetically enhanced individual made a bid for world domination in the eugenics wars of the 1990s? In the Star Trek canon, which genetically enhanced individual made a bid for world domination in the eugenics wars of the 1990s? This individual appears in an episode of the original series and also in one of the films. In the Star Trek canon, which genetically enhanced individual made a bid for world domination in the eugenics wars of the 1990s? Portrayed by an actor with a most wonderful voice. Question 3. Which is the only power to have dominated over a quarter of the world's landmass? Which is the only power to have dominated over a quarter of the world's landmass? The only power in history. Which is the only power to have dominated over a quarter of the world's landmass? Question 4. This is a very interesting topic. What is the most common form of imperialism in the present day? What is the most common form of imperialism in the present day? Some people say imperialism has gone away, but it's by no means gone away. What is the most common form of it in the present day? Question 5. In Doctor Who, whose aims at world domination had to be defeated by the Third Doctor? In Doctor Who, whose aims at world domination had to be defeated by the Third Doctor? Jon Pertwee, if that helps you to locate it. In Doctor Who, whose aims at world domination had to be defeated by the Third Doctor? Question 6. In Superman, who is the evil genius who seeks world domination? In Superman, who is the evil genius who seeks world domination? In Superman, who is the evil genius who seeks world domination? Question 7. In Hitler's thinking, which race would eventually dominate the world? In Hitler's thinking, which race would eventually dominate the world? Hitler was a subscriber to a form of social Darwinism, which suggested that individual races and people had strengths which would give them and their progeny domination over the others. And Hitler's had racial thinking in this respect. In Hitler's thinking, which race would eventually dominate the world? Question 8. In which British city was the legal company World Domination Limited registered? Yes, there was a legal company called World Domination Limited, and I would like you to guess, because I doubt if you'll know this, which city it was registered in. Question 9. Which nation's suspected attempts at technological domination have led to controversy in the rollout of 5G technology in the UK? Which nation's suspected attempts at technological domination have led to controversy in the rollout of 5G technology in the UK? Which nation's suspected attempts at technological domination have led to controversy in the rollout of 5G technology in the UK? And question 10. Which satirical spy-fi lair-building computer game, due to be released later this year, is subtitled World Domination? Which satirical spy-fi lair-building computer game, due to be released later this year, is subtitled World Domination? Just as well that I haven't had a drink before trying to say that. Which satirical spy-fi lair-building computer game, due to be released later this year, is subtitled World Domination? So let me go back over that round. What is the classic World Domination board game? In the Star Trek canon, which genetically enhanced individual made a bid for world domination in the eugenics wars of the 1990s? Which is the only power to have dominated over a quarter of the world's landmass? What is the most common form of imperialism in the present day? In Doctor Who, whose aims at world domination had to be defeated by the Third Doctor? In Superman, who is the evil genius who seeks world domination? In Hitler's thinking, which race would eventually dominate the world? In which British city was the legal company World Domination Limited registered? Which nation's suspected attempts at technological domination have led to controversy in the rollout of 5G technology in the UK? And which satirical spy-fi lair-building computer game, due to be released later this year, is subtitled World Domination? Okay, what a round that was. So we'll go to the first break with something lighter, with a little bit of a giggle. Question 1. Which cabaret group founded by Dilly Keane is due to visit Chesterfield on October the 30th this year? Yay! Which cabaret group founded by Dilly Keane is due to visit Chesterfield on October the 30th this year? Malcolm and Linda, take note. The last time they visited, I went to see them and I saw Malcolm and Linda there, and various other people. Which cabaret group founded by Dilly Keane is due to visit Chesterfield on October the 30th this year? Question 2. How old is Billy Connolly? Or should I say Sir William Connolly? No. How old is Billy Connolly? Poor Billy Connolly is no longer performing because he has Parkinson's disease. He's used his fame to raise the profile of Parkinson's sufferers, which is a good thing. How old is Billy Connolly? Question 3. Which city is the cultural base for Jasper Carrott? All these people are getting old, aren't they? Which city is the cultural base for Jasper Carrott? Question 4. What is the name of the main stand-up venue in Sheffield? What is the name of the main stand-up venue in Sheffield? I carefully said the main one because I looked this one up and then it occurred to me there may be other stand-up venues which I couldn't find out about. What is the name of the main stand-up venue in Sheffield? Question 5. When was the last year that British stand-up was subject to censorship? When was the last year that British stand-up was subject to censorship? Can you imagine a stand-up comedian having to submit the whole of their act to be censored and then to being subject to legal sanctions if you diverged from it? When was the last year that British stand-up was subject to censorship? Question 6. Which female stand-up comedian filled the Royal Albert Hall for 15 nights on a run in 2001? Which female stand-up comedian filled the Royal Albert Hall for 15 nights on a run in 2001? 15 nights on a run, filling the Royal Albert Hall. I think it's about 6,000 people the Royal Albert Hall can seat. Which female stand-up comedian filled the Royal Albert Hall for 15 nights on the run in 2001? Question 7. Come back up to date. What type of cabaret artist is RuPaul? I'll spell that for you. Capital R, small u, capital P, A-U-L. What type of cabaret artist is RuPaul? A type of cabaret artist much beloved of a certain section of the clergy. What type of cabaret artist is RuPaul? Question 8. What was the stage name of David Tynan O'Mahony? What was the stage name of David Tynan O'Mahony? Spelt O'Mahony if you are not quite sure how Mahony is spelt. What was the stage name of David Tynan O'Mahony? Question 9. Which cabaret-style comedy act got huge audiences every Christmas in the 1970s? Which cabaret-style comedy act got huge audiences every Christmas in the 1970s? And question 10. Which stand-up comedian did 29 marathons in 29 days in February this year? Which stand-up comedian did 29 marathons in 29 days in February this year? And is still standing. Which stand-up comedian did 29 marathons in 29 days in February this year? So to recap, which cabaret group founded by Dilly Keane is due to visit Chesterfield on October the 30th this year? How old is Billy Connolly? Which city is the cultural base for Jasper Carrot? What is the name of the main stand-up venue in Sheffield? When was the last year that British stand-up was subject to censorship? Which female stand-up comedian filled the Royal Albert Hall for 15 nights on the run in 2001? What type of cabaret artist is RuPaul? What was the stage name of David Tynan O'Mahony? Which cabaret-style comedy act got huge audiences every Christmas in the 1970s? And which stand-up comedian did 29 marathons in 29 days in February of this year? So that's the end of the first half, the first section, the first half of the questions. If we can take a break now until 8:15 for you to move around, get comfortable, have a drink, for me to let the dogs out. And if you have any questions you'd like me to repeat or any comments to make, please do feel free to use the live chat or the email contact@crookedspire.org.
Make it so.
You want to go out? Come on. we? All right. I'm afraid I haven't brought anything exciting for the third week running, or exciting if you call a cup of tea exciting. I simply don't feel like a drink this evening, so I brought myself a nice cup of tea. I hope you are all happy with a cup or glass of whatever it is that you like. And we have a greeting from Jack. It's good to see you, Jack. Hope you're okay. And give it a few more moments before moving on to the second half of the questions. I shall drink my tea. Okay, we'll move on to round 6. And in round 6, it's a very topical round. Round 6 is statues. Statues. And question 1, if you've not been living on Mars recently, you should have the answer to this. Whose statue was taken down in Bristol Docks recently? Whose statue was taken down in Bristol Docks recently? And I see that large elements of memorial to this individual in both Bristol Cathedral and St Mary Redcliffe Church have been removed or covered up. Whose statue was taken down in Bristol Docks recently? Question 2. Whose statue stands outside Chesterfield railway station? Whose statue stands outside Chesterfield railway station? And I note that this statue is currently wearing a face mask. Whose statue stands outside Chesterfield railway station? Question 3. What statue was restored to the niche above the porch at Chesterfield Parish Church? What statue was restored to the niche above the porch at Chesterfield Parish Church? What statue was restored to the niche above the porch at Chesterfield Parish Church? Lots of you will have walked through that porch. Did you actually look up to see what is above the door? The gate rather, not the door. Question 4. Who designed and made the wood and bronze statue of Our Lady with Child that is presently in the Lesser Lady Chapel? Who designed and made the wood and bronze statue of Our Lady with Child that is presently in the Lesser Lady Chapel? A lot of similar statues in different parts of the country made by this gentleman. Who designed and made the wood and bronze statue of Our Lady with Child that is presently in the Lesser Lady Chapel? Question 5. Whose statue in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome has part of its foot worn away through people touching and kissing it? There's a clue here. Whose statue in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome has part of its foot worn away through people touching and kissing it? whose statue in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome has part of its foot worn away through people touching and kissing it? Question 6. What is the only statue of a female in Parliament Square? What is the only statue of a female in Parliament Square? What is the only statue of a female in Parliament Square? Question 7. Which country gifted the Statue of Liberty to the USA? Oh, dear. Excuse me.
8336.
Sorry about that. That was my mobile phone. I should have put it on silent. Where am I? Which country gifted the Statue of Liberty to the USA? And if you want a bonus point on this question, you could tell me who built the framework for this statue. Which country gifted the Statue of Liberty to the USA? Question 8. What statue overlooks the A1 and main railway line near Gateshead? What statue overlooks the A1 and main railway line near Gateshead? What statue overlooks the A1 and main railway line near Gateshead? Question 9. Which Welsh scrum half has a statue in Cardiff city centre? Which Welsh scrum half has a statue in Cardiff city centre? Which Welsh scrum half has a statue in Cardiff city centre? And question 10, a cast of whose body forms the basis for most of Anthony Gormley's statues and sculptures? A cast of whose body forms the basis for most of Anthony Gormley's statues and sculptures? In other words, whose body did he cast in order to form the base for his statues and sculptures? Go back then over that round. Whose statue was taken down in Bristol Docks recently? Whose statue stands outside Chesterfield railway station? What statue was restored to the niche above the porch at Chesterfield Parish Church? Who designed and made the wood and bronze statue of Our Lady with Child that is presently in the Lesser Lady Chapel? Whose statue in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome has part of its foot worn away through people touching and kissing it? What is the only statue of a female in Parliament Square? Which country gifted the Statue of Liberty to the USA? What statue overlooks the A1 and main railway line near Gateshead? Which Welsh scrum half has a statue in Cardiff city centre? And a cast of whose body forms the basis for most of Anthony Gormley's statues and sculptures? Okay, something closer to my heart. Cakes and biscuits. Question 1. What are dead fly biscuits better known as? What are dead fly biscuits better known as? Quite like dead fly biscuits. They don't like me, but I like them. What are dead fly biscuits known as? Question 2 for the bakers among you. What are the classic proportions of ingredients for shortbread? I just want the proportions, not the ingredients. What are the classic proportions of ingredients for shortbread? Question 3. Which classic sponge mixture depends on equal weights of ingredients? Which classic sponge mixture depends on equal weights of ingredients? If you make this in the classic way, instead of following the recipe, the quantities in the recipe, you take the quantity of the one ingredient that you cannot easily measure out, you weigh those, and then you add an equal weight of all the other ingredients. Question 4. In which city was the largest custard cream in the world made in 2010? Not far from here. In which city was the largest custard cream in the world made in 2010? In which city was the largest custard cream in the world made in 2010? Question 5. What are the 3 layers in Millionaire's shortcake? What are the 3 layers in Millionaire's shortcake? You see that everywhere now. And it's never any of it as good as what my mother used to make. What are the 3 layers in Millionaire's shortcake? Question 6. What type of nuts are commonly used in carrot cakes? What type of nuts are commonly used in carrot cakes? They're also, for some unaccountable reason, used in coffee cakes. What type of nuts are commonly used in carrot cakes? Question 7. I wonder if you'll get this right. In which country were cream crackers invented? In which country were cream crackers invented? Cream crackers not named after having cream in them, but named after the process that the mixture is creamed. In which country were cream crackers invented? Question 8. What is hardtack? What is hardtack? And I want to know what's in hardtack, not what it's used for. Hardtack is a principal easily conserved foodstuff which was taken on ships. So I've given you that particular part of the answer, but I want to know what it is. What's it made of? Question 9. Where are wagon wheels manufactured? Where are wagon wheels manufactured? Apart from giant wagon wheels being manufactured in the kitchens of certain people here during lockdown, where are wagon wheels manufactured? And question 10, what type of cake is the Queen reported to like at tea time? What type of cake is the Queen reported to like at tea time? What type of cake is the Queen reported to like at tea time? Recap, what are dead fly biscuits better known as? What are the classic proportions of ingredients for shortbread? Which classic sponge mixture depends on equal weights of ingredients? In which city was the largest custard cream in the world made in 2010? What are the 3 layers in Millionaire's shortbread? What type of nuts are commonly used in carrot cakes? In which country were cream crackers invented? What is hardtack? Where are wagon wheels manufactured? And what type of cake is the Queen reported to like at tea time? So we'll move on to the wonderful and sometimes not so wonderful world of social media. And there's some stuff in the history of social media here as well. Question 1, what does BBS stand for? BBS. What does BBS stand for? There's a whole load of associated code and a whole load of associated cryptology and things. What does BBS stand for? Question 2, what is FAD? What is FAD? What is FAD? Question 3. Which social media platform only used to allow 140 characters? Which social media platform only used to allow 140 characters? That should be easy. Which social media platform only used to allow 140 characters? Question 4. Which larger platform owns Instagram? Which larger platform owns Instagram? Which larger platform owns Instagram? Question 5, a question on the abbreviations used in social media and messaging. And there are 2 possible answers to this one, but the answer I want is the polite one, please. There's a very rude one, and I don't want that one. What does BFF stand for? What does BFF stand for? What does BFF stand for? A few people out there chuckling, no doubt. Question 6. Which platform operates a very limited availability time for posts? Which platform operates a very limited availability time for posts? No doubt to make sure that people stay on it so they don't miss anything. Which platform operates a very limited availability time for posts? Question 7. TikTok has achieved some popularity in the UK during lockdown. Where is it based? TikTok has achieved some popularity in the UK during lockdown. Where is it based? Heard about TikTok some years ago, but until lockdown, never saw it used in this country. TikTok has achieved some popularity in the UK during lockdown. Where is it based? Question 8, a question which causes some annoyance to those of us who've been using Facebook to stream live things. What must you become before Facebook will allow you to stream live in high definition? What must you become before Facebook will allow you to stream live in high definition? What must you become before Facebook will allow you to stream live in high definition? Question 9. What is the Vicar of Chesterfield's Twitter handle? What is the Vicar of Chesterfield's Twitter handle? It's one which I've used elsewhere as well. What is the Vicar of Chesterfield's Twitter handle? And question 10. What is the name given to lengthy articles posted in dedicated social media sites, usually with a comment box available underneath? What is the name given to lengthy articles posted in dedicated social media sites, usually with a comment box available underneath? What is the name given to lengthy articles posted in dedicated social media sites, usually with a comment box available underneath? I guess there are a few people here who might get 8 or 9 or even 10 out of 10 for this round. I'll go back over it. What does BBS stand for? What is FAD? Which social media platform only used to allow 140 characters? Which larger platform owns Instagram? What does BFF stand for? The polite version, please. Which platform operates a very limited availability time for posts? TikTok has achieved some popularity in the UK during lockdown. Where is it based? What must you become before Facebook will allow you to stream live in high definition? What is the Vicar of Chesterfield's Twitter handle? And what is the name given to lengthy articles posted in dedicated social media sites, usually with a comment box available underneath? Okay, we'll get on to the organ which all of you have been trying to exercise this evening, the brain. Question 1. What percentage of a human's body weight is taken up by the brain? What percentage of a human's body weight is taken up by the brain? Fascinating, the different sizes of brains which creatures have. What percentage of a human's body weight is taken up by the brain? Question 2. What percentage of the body's energy does the brain consume? What percentage of the body's energy does the brain consume? Also quite fascinating. What percentage of the body's energy does the brain consume? Question 3. What sort of function is the prefrontal cortex responsible for? What sort of function is the prefrontal cortex responsible for? Question 4. What is the correlation between brain size and IQ? What is the correlation between brain size and IQ? Is there a minimum brain size for Mensa membership? What is the correlation between brain size and IQ? Question 5. What wonderful creature has the smallest known ratio of brain to body mass of all vertebrates? What creature has the smallest known ratio of brain to body mass of all vertebrates? You'll love the answer to this one. What creature has the smallest known ratio of brain to body mass of all vertebrates? Question 6, in all these medical rounds, I've always included a Vulcan question, and here's the Vulcan question this week. In which episode of Star Trek is Spock's brain abducted to form the basis for a computer that supports a civilization? In which episode of Star Trek is Spock's brain abducted to form the basis for a computer that supports a civilization? If you are guessing, then look for clues. In which episode of Star Trek is Spock's brain abducted to form the basis for a computer that supports a civilization? Question 7. Can you buy cow's brain in the UK? Can you buy cow's brain in the UK? There are various different types of brain that you can buy, although it's not easy to come by. And if you want a pig's brain, apparently the best way of getting hold of a pig's brain is to buy a pig's head and cut it out yourself, because it's very difficult to obtain pig's brain which has been specially butchered. Can you buy cow's brain in the UK? Question 8. Which is the largest mammalian brain? Which is the largest mammalian brain? Which is the largest mammalian brain? Question 9. What is the International Society for people with the top 2% of IQ? What is the International Society for people with the top 2% of IQ? Don't know if there are any members who are involved this evening. What is the International Society for people with the top 2% of IQ? On several vain occasions, I've looked at what you have to do to join this society and some of the sample tests they give, and you have the same sorts of tests that you used to have in the 11 plus, which were called verbal reasoning or otherwise intelligence, which involve quite a lot of spatial awareness, things like shapes fitting into other shapes and that sort of thing. And as somebody who has little or no spatial awareness, that knackered me. What is the International Society for people with the top 2% of IQ? Question 10. Who presented the revival of the Brains Trust in the late 1990s? Who presented the revival of the Brains Trust in the late 1990s? Okay, I'll go back. What percentage of a human's body weight is taken up by the brain? What percentage of the body's energy does the brain consume? What sort of function is the prefrontal cortex responsible for? What is the correlation between brain size and IQ? Which creature has the smallest known ratio of brain to body mass of all vertebrates? In which episode of Star Trek is Spock's brain abducted to form the basis for a computer that supports a civilization? Can you buy cow's brain in the UK? Which is the largest mammalian brain? What is the International Society for people with the top 2% of IQ? And who presented the revival of the Brains Trust in the late 1990s? So we're already on to round 10, the 100th round of the lockdown quizzes. And as round 10 has been every week, this is trivia. Which member of the royal family had COVID-19 in March? Which member of the royal family had COVID-19 in March and apparently still has trouble with sense of smell? Which member of the royal family had COVID-19 in March? Question 2. Since Monday, what have people had to wear when using public transport? Since Monday, what have people had to wear when using public transport? Question 3. You may have seen pictures of this if you weren't around at the time. Which locomotive hauled the last passenger train to serve Chesterfield Central? Which locomotive hauled the last passenger train to serve Chesterfield Central? To make it the question worth asking, it had to be a significant locomotive. That may help you in guessing. Which locomotive hauled the last passenger train to serve Chesterfield Central? Question 4. What is a 75th wedding anniversary called? What is a 75th wedding anniversary called? With increased longevity, more people are reaching this. What is a 75th wedding anniversary called? Question 5. What was the diameter of a 45 RPM single record? What was the diameter of a 45 RPM single record? Question 6. What is the predicted National Lottery jackpot for this evening? What is the predicted National Lottery jackpot for this evening? Who knows whether any of us have won it? What is the predicted National Lottery jackpot for this evening? Question 7. Who is the current MP for Holborn and St Pancras? You go to London on the train, you're getting off the train in this person's constituency. Who is the current MP for Holborn and St Pancras? And I promised a Sheffield Wednesday question. In what year was Sheffield Wednesday Football Club founded? In what year was Sheffield Wednesday Football Club founded? A year after the foundation of Chesterfield Football Club, I hasten to add. In what year was Sheffield Wednesday Football Club founded? Question 9. Name one of the Premier League football clubs who are playing tonight. Name one of the Premier League football clubs who are playing tonight. And since it's the last quiz, you can have a point for all the correct answers if you get them all. And question 10, which is the 1000th question asked in this lockdown quiz series. Which rapper and fashion designer is behind the trademark Yeezy? Which rapper and fashion designer is behind the trademark Yeezy? Okay, I'll go back over those and then we'll have a break and then do the answers. Which member of the royal family had COVID-19 in March? From Monday, what have people had to wear when using public transport? Which locomotive hauled the last passenger train to serve Chesterfield Central? What is a 75th wedding anniversary called? What was the diameter of a 45 RPM single record? What is the predicted National Lottery jackpot for this evening? Who is the current MP for Holborn and St Pancras? In what year was Sheffield Wednesday Football Club founded? Name one of the Premier League football clubs who are playing tonight. And finally, which rapper and fashion designer is behind the trademark Yeezy? So, we've done all 1000 questions. Now we need to spend a little time having a short break. We'll come back at 5:02, and when we do, we will have the last 100 answers. So enjoy your break, whatever you decide to do during the break. I think I want to double check one of the answers I've written down to this, but I can't. Ah, that's the one I want to double check. Good. I thought I was right, and I am. Excellent. If you want to ask for any questions to be repeated, this is your opportunity. If you want to make any comments, this is also an opportunity. What have we got here? We don't have any comments. We don't have any queries. Either you must be happy or the thing must be broken. Oh, there is somebody. Question 4 of the trivia round. By all means. Question 4 of the trivia round. What is a 75th wedding anniversary called? What is a 75th wedding anniversary called? Well, I'm glad you found it brilliant, Colin. I've enjoyed it. I can't say after 10 weeks that I won't be glad to be doing something else next Wednesday evening. But as the lockdown lifts, I think we need to wean ourselves off the things we've been doing during the lockdown, and I will be very happy to reprise this role in person at some point in the near future. Can you have question 7 of the trivia round too? Question 7. Who is the current MP for Holborn and St Pancras? Who is the current MP for Holborn and St Pancras? I'd be very happy to have a quiz night in person. What have we got? Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you've been entertained. I think it's formed a little bit of community building in a distinctively Crooked Spire sort of way. And of course, if the lockdown does return, then we can always return to quiz nights. But let's hope the lockdown doesn't return. Let's hope that was a once in the generation event and none of us has to live through that stuff again. You're very welcome. Balls and hairs together. Yes. Well, we're moving on. We've got another minute or so, and then I'll work on the. It's still on in Wales. Yes, of course it is. Terrific fun. Thank you, E-Hop. We'll have to meet sometime. Audrey, we'll have to get you to come down if we have a quiz night in the parish centre. Pie and peas compulsory. Right, we're heading towards 5-2. The clock says it's not 5-2. The computer says it's not 5-2. We've got another minute or so to go. And the thunder is gone, so the dog is out from behind the chair. Unless he's gone upstairs and lying underneath my bed, which I hope he's not. And he will cop it if he's done that. I was very pleased to see when I went out in the first break that Millie had gone to sleep. Not seen Millie asleep. She's always very on her guard, so that's a good sign that she felt confident enough to go to sleep. Good. I wonder what your highlight of the week will be next week on a Wednesday night. Maybe something on television, who knows? Well, there's nothing worth watching on television that I can see. Right, I wonder what sort of scores people are going to have. We're heading towards 5-2. How has this week been opening the church? The church's been open for 2 hours in the morning, and we've had 3 staff on and a one-way system and limited areas for people to go to. And we've had a steady trickle of people. And as I said earlier, one of the things that has been really noticeable, Josh noticed this, he was one of the volunteers yesterday, he said, isn't it nice to see these people coming into the church and going out with a big smile on their face? But I think, and this is something which the Church of England is in danger of forgetting, that it's not just the people who come into the church that it's important for. It's a real sign of hope for the people around in Chesterfield who probably don't have any intention of coming in, but they know that it's open. They know that their church is open. And that's something which it's hard to quantify. And in the current church climate is not an easy thing to get people to see the importance of, but I think it's really, really important. Anyway, because we're here for the people of Chesterfield, not just for ourselves. Anyway, let's get on with the answers. And round 1 was Italy. Prime Minister of Italy from 1922 to 1943, of course, was Benito Mussolini. The island in the Bay of Naples, where Gracie Fields is buried, is Capri or Capri. The principal volcano on Sicily is Etna. The mountain range in the northeast of Italy bordering on Austria is the Dolomites. The financial capital of Italy is Milan. The name of Italy's principal car and engineering manufacturer, of course, is Fiat, which should always be spelled with capital letters, and it stands for Fabbrica Italiana di Automobili Torino, which means literally the Italian factory of cars in Turin. Very simple, Fiat. The Italian football team last won the World Cup in 2006. The longest river in Italy is the Po. The name of the principal port associated with the city of Rome is Civitavecchia, and the second largest Italian island is Sardinia. Life and death. The last hanging was carried out in the UK in 1964. Capital punishment was actually abolished in 1998. It remained on the books for things like treason until then, and for arson of Her Majesty's dockyards and things, obscure things like that. The British family that provided 3 executions between 1902 and 1956 was the Pierpoints. The part of the body which must be dead before organ transplants can take place is the brain. The difference between an embryo and a fetus is that it becomes a fetus when all the major organs are in place. So that's the difference. When all the major organs are in place at the very start of their development, that's when the embryo becomes known as a fetus. The main ingredient in embalming fluid is usually formaldehyde. A cremulator is a machine for rendering cremated remains, so taking lumps out of cremated remains. Must you be buried in a coffin? Of course not. You can be buried in a winding cloth, or you can be buried in your birthday suit. In what year was the first hospice for the dying in England founded? 1905. In Hackney, St. Joseph's Hospice in Hackney was founded in 1905. The age group of mothers which had the lowest infant mortality rate in 2018 was the 30 to 34 age group. I'll give you a little bit of wiggle room either side of that. Okay, nibbles and snacks. Twiglets are flavoured with yeast extract. Marmite I will accept. Pigs in blankets are sausages wrapped in bacon. Walkers apparently use 800 tons of potatoes each day. The only Maker crisps to have an OXO flavour was chipmunk. The most commonly used flavour enhancer is monosodium glutamate. Lovells made a bar called Milky Lunch. Lovells. Magnum was first sold in Denmark in 1988. The snacks commonly provided free for children in primary schools are raw fruit and vegetables. KP stands for Kenyan produce. And cheese strings are made from, apparently, 100% cheese. It's apparently the processing which makes them stringy. World domination. The classic world domination board game, of course, is Risk. The genetically enhanced individual in the Star Trek canon is Han Noonien Singh. The only power to have dominated over a quarter of the world's landmass, of course, is the British Empire at its greatest extent in 1920. The most common form of imperialism in the present day is economic imperialism. The thing whose aims at world domination had to be defeated by the Third Doctor in Doctor Who was BOSS, capital B, capital O, capital S, which stands for Biomorphic Organizational Systems Supervisor, but BOSS will do. The evil genius in Superman is Lex Luthor. The Aryan race would dominate the world in Hitler's thinking. The British city where the legal company World Domination Limited was registered is Leeds. The suspected attempts at technological domination, which led to controversy as 5G technology is rolled out, of course, is China. And the satirical spy-fi lair-building computer game due to be released later this year, subtitled World Domination, is Evil Genius 2. Evil Genius 2. Stand-up and cabaret. The cabaret group founded by Dilly Keane, of course, is the great, incomparable, fascinating Aida. And I hope that they do succeed in getting to Chesterfield on October the 30th, and I will definitely be there. Billy Connolly is 77. The cultural base for Jasper Carrott is Birmingham. The name for the main stand-up venue in Sheffield is The Last Laugh. British stand-up was last subject to censorship in 1968. The female stand-up comedian who filled the Royal Albert Hall for 15 nights running in 2001 was Victoria Wood. RuPaul is a drag queen. David Tynan O'Mahony was better known as Dave Allen. The cabaret-style comedy act that got huge audiences every Christmas, of course, was Morecambe and Wise. And the stand-up comedian that did 29 marathons in 29 days in February of this year was Eddie Izzard. Moving on to statues, Edward Colston's statue was taken down in Bristol Docks recently. The statue outside Chesterfield Railway Station is George Stevenson. The statue restored to the niche above the porch at the Chesterfield Parish Church is the Blessed Virgin Mary. The wood and bronze statue of Our Lady with Child in the Lesser Lady Chapel was designed and made by Peter Eugene Ball. The statue in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome with its foot worn away is St. Peter. The only statue of a female in Parliament Square is Millicent Fawcett. I wonder how many people said Margaret Thatcher. She's inside. The Statue of Liberty was gifted to the USA by France. For the bonus point there, the framework for it was made by the man who built the Eiffel Tower, Eiffel. The statue overlooking the A1 is the Angel of the North. The Welsh scrum half, of course, is Gareth Edwards. And Anthony Gormley used a cast of his own body as the basis for his statues and sculptures. Cakes and biscuits. Dead fly biscuits are called Garibaldi biscuits. The classic proportions for shortbread are 6-4-2 or 3-2-1 if you prefer. 6 of flour, 4 of butter and 2 of sugar. The classic sponge mixture, which depends on equal weights of ingredients, is a Victoria sandwich. So if you do it the classic way, you weigh your eggs, then you take a weight from the eggs and you weigh the flour and the fat and the sugar following the weight of the eggs in their shells. The largest custard cream in the world was made in Nottingham in 2010. The 3 layers in Millionaire's shortcake are shortcake, caramel and chocolate. The nuts commonly used in carrot cakes are walnuts. Cream crackers were invented in Ireland, believe it or not. Jacobs is an Irish-founded company. Hardtack are basic flour and water biscuits. And the water biscuits that you have with cheese and things like that are a development of hardtack. Wagon wheels are manufactured in Llantarnam, which is near Cwmbran, so you can have Cwmbran, and because it's the last night, you can have Wales as well. And the type of cake the Queen is reported to like at tea time is Dundee cake. Never could work out what the difference is between a Dundee cake and an ordinary fruit cake, except that you put almonds on the top. Social media. BBS stands for Bulletin Board System, which was the predecessor of forums, which have now been made obsolete by things like Facebook. FAD is Facebook Addiction Disorder. The social media platform that used to allow 140 characters is Twitter. Instagram is owned by Facebook. BFF stands for Best Friends Forever. And that's the only answer I will accept. If you've written big fat whatever, then please, I won't accept that one, because I did say very clearly I didn't want that. Best Friends Forever. The platform which has a very limited availability time for posts is Snapchat. TikTok is based in China. Before Facebook will let you stream live in high definition, you must be a so-called level up gamer. So the only things that can be streamed live in high definition on Facebook are games, which is annoying because it'd be nice, given the equipment which we've got, to stream mass in high definition. You'd get a much better picture, but that's the way it is. The Vicar of Chesterfield's Twitter handle is AbbaVicar. I considered changing it when I moved from Abertillery to Chesterfield, but Chester Vicar didn't sound right, and Crooked Vicar sounded wrong as well, so I left it as AbbaVicar. And the lengthy articles in dedicated sites with a com box underneath are blogs, of course, weblogs, blogs. Okay, the brain. I'll give you a little leeway on these percentages. The percentage of a human's body weight taken up by the brain is 2%, and the percentage of the body's energy consumed by the brain is 20%. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for higher cognitive function. There is absolutely no correlation between brain size and IQ. The creature, the wonderfully named creature, which has the smallest known ratio of brain to body mass of all vertebrates, is the bony-eared assfish. Isn't it wonderful? The bony-eared assfish. I think that's got to be the highlight of these quiz nights, the bony-eared assfish. And it's a very small, scrawny thing which lives at the bottom of the sea, the bony-eared assfish. The episode of Star Trek where Spock's brain is abducted is called Spock's Brain. Can you buy cow brain in the UK? Not since BSE. No, you can't. The largest mammalian brain, it belongs to a sperm whale. The International Society for People with the Top 2% of IQ is Mensa. And Joan Bakewell presented the revival of the Brains Trust on Radio 3 in the late 1990s. Brains Trust, a very popular radio and then television program of the 50s and 60s, where people would put intelligent questions to a panel which was chosen in order to be able to answer the questions. Fascinating to go back over some of the archive versions of that. And round 10. Which member of the royal family had COVID-19 in March is Prince Charles? People have had to wear face coverings on public transport since Monday. The locomotive which hauled the last passenger train to serve Chesterfield Central is, of course, 4472 Flying Scotsman. So if you knew anything about famous steam locomotives, surely you would have got that. The 75th wedding anniversary is called an oak wedding anniversary. The diameter of a 45 RPM single record is 7 inches. The predicted national lottery jackpot for this evening is 8.7 million. The current MP for Holborn and St Pancras, who was sitting opposite the current MP for Uxbridge at Prime Minister's Question Time this afternoon, is Keir Starmer. Sheffield Wednesday Football Club was founded in 1867. The Premier League football clubs who are playing tonight are Aston Villa, Sheffield United, Manchester City and Arsenal. And the rapper and fashion designer behind the trademark Yeezy is Kanye West. 1,000 questions got through, 1,000 questions dealt with, and I will sit here for a little while to receive scores, comments, or to repeat any of the answers if you didn't get them. So we'll sit here for just a couple of minutes, and then, as every time, it will be time for me to go away and have a bath and go to bed. And tomorrow until 5:30 is my day off. So I will not be getting up early in the morning. Although with dogs, you can't lie in for very long, and I'm not given to lying in for a long time anyway. But I shall certainly have a little extra sleep tomorrow. 48 this week, 42. I think last week was the biggest for scores by the looks of this. We got 60s and 70s last week, 43, 62. Well done, Andrew. Oh, Adam and Daniel, 54. Well done. I hope you did well on the social media one. 45, 45, 45. 61, 56, your high score. How did you do on the brain round with the medical help? You're very welcome, Hallam's. It's really great to have had rival bits of families joining in this. You didn't do so well. Well, tell us what the score was then, please. Not so good. 64, your best week. Well done. Come on, Linda, what was your score? Not so good as previously isn't good enough. We've got to know what the score is. Well, we've got 69. Well done. 65. Well, that's brilliant. You spend too much time on social media, Audrey, obviously. Right. Well done, Colin and Suzanne, 63. Yes. Linda is still not telling us what they got. Yes, I'm looking forward to. Chloe only knows about human brains. Not too shabby, 61. Full marks on Italy. Well done. 48. No, that's not to be sneezed at. In old-fashioned money, that would have been a pass mark. before pass marks ended up being in the 60s because questions were so easy. No, they're not really. Right. Well, I'll get to the stage where I'll say thank you to you all for being part of this venture over the last 10 weeks. And all 1,000 questions have involved a little bit of work and a lot of fun. And I know that it's given a lot of fun to you, so that's made me happy. And all I hope is that the next time I see you, it will be in person, in church maybe, and the sooner that comes, the better. And if I see you again in this context, then we'll be back in lockdown, and we'll, as we have for the last 10 weeks and longer, we'll do our best to make the best of it, because that's all you can do. Okay, well, thank you everybody. I'm going to end the stream here and say good night, and I hope you all have a very good night too. Bye-bye.